We're back. Hi everybody. Hi. Oh, we've taken an extended break. Tyler had knee surgery. He had hip surgery. He had hair implants.
I don't
he got
look any different though.
he got his ears lowered and he got dentures put in. So it's been a while. You look nice, Tyler.
Yeah, my knee today actually is like the first day I felt like a good progression.
Yeah.
I felt all right. I walked down the steps faster than usual.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh. Was it a brisk walk or just like did you hobble?
There was a little bit more pep in my step.
Nice. Well, and you had what was MCL or was
Meniscus repair?
Meniscus repair. Meniscus repair.
Thankfully, one of the weakest of the knee surgeries.
Yeah. So, when are you back running again?
I don't know. I'm almost done with PT, so I'll ask him today.
Nice. Almost done with PT already?
Yeah.
Man,
it's been almost 4 weeks, so
wow.
It's funny. I feel like I know more about knee injuries and rehab and everything just because of our the profession.
No, that's very true. No, that is true. You know, the knees and the ankles and
Yeah. I went into my appointment and I told the doctor that I tore my meniscus. And he was like, okay, guy.
Yeah.
Let's get the MRI and we'll figure it out. And then he came back. He's like, you tore your meniscus.
Boom.
Yeah, I know.
Experts. We are back. This is Cap Chat Live. You're listening to Cap Chat, the #1 soccer recruitment podcast in the United States. This is Cap Chat. All right. So happy month, happy day, Tyler. Tyler's coming up on. Am I wrong? Is your birthday in April, or am I? I am correct about that.
You are. It is on the come up.
Nice. Okay, so
I will be 29.
29 and have a knee surgery, so that's good.
You replaced me at 29. What's wrong with you?
I know. Better than I don't mind picking on our friend Jason Watt from Missouri Rush because he had a hip replacement and I think he was 42 at the time. I don't know why I think that's funny because it's probably not a funny. He probably doesn't.
Replacements aren't fun.
No, he doesn't think it's funny, but I certainly do. But I don't have to have a hip replacement, so I think if I have to have a hip replacement, it won't be quite as funny. So I got the white beard happening. It's salt and pepper.
You're next for a hip replacement.
Oh, dude, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. I haven't been sleeping well. It's just one of those things. And we got a new dog.
You got a dog. You're a volleyball dad.
I know, it's weird. I don't know where Hazel is, but yeah, we got a new Bernedoodle. Yes, I like volleyball now. A lot has changed. A lot has changed in the past couple months.
Life is changing, folks.
Oh man. Oh, but we got some. Huh?
How's our? I miss Ruthie.
Yeah. I haven't heard from Ruthie, and so yeah, that's for sure. Let's say hi to Ruthie.
I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack, and my wolf pack grew by one.
It's time for Tyler's Trends.
What do we got Tyler's Trends going on here?
It goes right on par with our old man talk that we've been going. Slow down in this neighborhood. This is a neighborhood. Slow down your car. Those guys.
You kids get off my lawn.
Yeah, but it's something I feel like will help our recruits.
Okay.
And the thing is, if you're communicating with coaches, right, know your time zone versus their time zone.
That's a good one.
Know appropriate times to call or text, right, that are within what parameters. At CAP, you, me, and Steve, I don't think we've ever set parameters for contact of like these are the hours in which it's appropriate and professional to contact college coaches.
9 o'clock
via text or phone call. Email is a free game. Whatever you're emailing, that's okay.
9 o'clock feels, and like there's times that I've gotten a message from a player or a parent after 9. I'm obviously wide awake, but I will schedule. I schedule my response for the next morning.
Okay.
I feel 9 o'clock's that's just me though. 8 to 9 o'clock is no late. 9 o'clock would be by far the furthest, the latest.
I have in this recruiting cycle received at least 5 text messages after 10 o'clock. 3 text messages at least after 11 o'clock. And 2 text messages at least after midnight. One of those being after 1 a.m.
Even at 1 a.m., regardless of the time zone, like if you're in California, that's 11 o'clock there. So you're still, what do the text messages say? Like, hopefully it's not anything like.
No, nothing urgent. Just like, hey, what's going on? We want to schedule a talk sometime soon. Like just anything that can wait until the morning. I would say it's more appropriate to text me at 7:30 in the morning than it would be to 1 in the morning.
For sure. I think no good text comes past 10 o'clock. We're hopefully we're in bed, but
I like your parameters of 9 to 9.
Yeah.
I think those are the most appropriate parameters. It's not that awful in the morning, but you have to think, if you're emailing or texting, I should say, or calling coaches, they might have a family. They got to get their family going in the morning. They're not going to, you know what I mean? They're not going to have time to do those things, right? We just talked about Josh being a volleyball dad, right? My kids we got to get them to school. So, there's other things that they're going to be doing. So that 9 to 9 time frame is plenty of time for you to shoot a text message over. So just be cognizant of those decisions that you make, because you're being a little weird if you're texting at 1 a.m. to a college coach.
100%. No, yeah. No, and on the flip side, I'll also say, if the coach responds, I think that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, fair. I mean, regardless of.
And I would wait till the morning and the time to respond. If you catch me, if you catch me before 10, I'm likely to respond. But I would set the parameter still for our advice for recruits between 9 and 9.
Yeah. Well, and can't you? I don't have an iPhone, but can't you schedule? Like I know on my phone, like I know for an Android, I can schedule a message super easy. So if someone responds, like a lot of times I'll have a thought process, like, oh, I need to tell Tyler this or whatever. I gotta. Oh, I'm laying in bed and it popped in my head. I need to check on this kid. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna schedule it for the next morning. Mm-hmm. I mean, can't you?
Yeah, you can set reminders for sure. You can use your calendar.
But you can't actually just hold and schedule it?
I don't think so. Maybe you're asking the wrong guy. I don't know.
This is true. Yeah. See, on my phone, I can hold and schedule and it'll determine when I want to send that text message.
Yeah.
Like for example, when you said, "Hey, remind me about this trip coming up," and I scheduled it at that exact moment.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Maybe our iPhone people can educate me. Not that would surprise Josh. I get my mail via carrier.
This is true. But even if you set yourself a reminder to do it, so 9 to 9 is the parameters.
I agree.
Interesting. That's your Tyler's trends. I like it. And now we got some news. Oh, here's some news. Big news from FAFSA.
The floodgates have opened, Josh. The floodgates have opened. I repeat, the floodgates have opened. The eagle has landed.
I don't have any water. Otherwise, I would. If that's what you're.
That's okay.
If you're trying to get me some water.
Schools are receiving what are called ISI.
Oh, there you go. The floodgates. The floodgates have opened. The floodgates have opened.
Schools are on their way to creating packages for students I'll say students and student athletes at colleges in the United States. It only took us till almost April for the government to figure this whole thing out. And I will say, so that's the good news, right? So that's the good news. If you are, let's say, a potential soccer recruit here in 2024, and you've been waiting for your financial aid package to make a decision on a college, I can tell you you'll be receiving it soon. And that's really good news. So finally, we're there. Now, it's still not perfect, unfortunately. There are still some issues with the Pell Grant. There are still some issues. I think the biggest issue would be if for some reason your FAFSA is flagged for verification or missing a signature. I think what I'm being told is the process to go through that and get it fixed isn't going to be as easy as it was maybe last year, and it might take you more time. So it's bad news for somebody that's going to have that to deal with. But if your FAFSA's clean and they said it's going through, there's a good chance you're going to get your package sent from the colleges that you're waiting for, and you'll have those ready to go. And hopefully that will allow you to make a decision. Or if you made a decision and it reassures you on the financial side of things, that could be there for you to see as well.
Wow, that's been a big pushback, and I know especially Division III that it's only financial packages. Now, have you been able to somewhat estimate, like since you've been doing it long enough in your admissions office, have you been able to somewhat estimate? Here's what we think your financial package could look like, or
well, that's the tricky part. I assume if you already have a kid that's in college, and so you've gone through the FAFSA process before, it's probably not going to be wildly different for those families. Okay. If you are a first-time family going through this with your kid, then the only thing that we can tell you at the college level is that you're going to get $5,500 in a federal loan, right? And that's something that you have to pay back as a freshman. And so that's the one guaranteed thing that you could tell them. The academic money you'll know, the athletic money you'll know, and then if your school provides anything else grant-wise that you would know as well. But as far as if I will get any government help, we wouldn't know if it's $0 up to $7,500 in grant help from the government. And grant is something that you don't have to pay back,
which is massive.
And the reason being is that grant money, they changed how they evaluated who gets it and how they get it. Right. So maybe somebody that was a self-employed farmer typically was getting Pell Grant, like decent help, but now they reevaluated the income that industry's been getting. That was an example they used, and now those families might not be getting the Pell Grant. So it could directly affect somebody that's in college right now as well. And so that was a big thing. They changed the wording. It was called estimated family contribution. And now it's called like SIA. And off the top of my head, I can't even tell you what that stands for. But those are the things that changed, and we don't know to what degree and what level and how they're evaluating that process to know who's getting the government help and who isn't. So that was a big part of this change and a big part of the holdup overall.
Student Aid Index.
Is that what it's called or stands for? Okay, there you go. And they're indexing if your family needs help or not.
Interesting.
So that index comes back, and it can go, from what I'm told, anywhere from like negative $1,500. That means your family's definitely not contributing anything towards college, which means you would be full Pell, up to however much money your family could contribute. So negative $1,500 up to like $5,000 maybe. That's the range in which someone would qualify for Pell based on the SIA. So if someone has their SIA number, they might be able to start to tell right away if they're going to get help or not based off of that.
Yeah. Interesting.
There you go. Breaking news.
What
on it?
We're talking money, and I think for me at least, I'm fascinated with the NIL, the name, image, and likeness deal, and I've been trying to follow it at some level, and now I just was reading, you mentioned, Oakland, Trey Townsend, he could enter the transfer pool because top players are looking at $250,000, $300,000 from larger school to transfer. The name, image, and likeness, and we're back to, and I think we said it here a couple years ago that the NCAA, by not regulating it at the time, is heading down a dark path that is going to be taken advantage of. And they stepped back in about 6 months ago to try to help regulate it, and then they got sued by a couple of different states, and now they've thrown their hands back in the air again. And so we are going back into the wild, wild west of the name, image, and likeness world. And I'll give you my opinion. I think, Tyler, you may differ, and that's okay. I am a fan of students being able to make money on their name, image, likeness. In the simplest world, you see NCAA football coming back on PlayStation, and each student's making a couple $100 because they're on the video game. That's absolutely incredible. I think that's a really good thing for them to do. If you want to go out, Caitlin Clark obviously is the largest example right now. She deserves every penny she's making. She has a State Farm commercial. She is arguably the greatest women's college basketball player ever, if not she's the highest scoring NCAA basketball player of all time. So she deserves every amount of money being tossed at her because I think she's earned that. I think the problem is happening with the NIL is that high school students or even transfers are now being led down and making decisions based on NIL deals unfairly, and I think the larger schools are going to continue to dominate, and I think they're going to use their alumni network and have decisions being made of where they want to go to college based on an NIL deal, which I think is going to drastically change the college landscape. I think it's going to hurt smaller schools. We just saw here Missouri Fontbonne is closing. Smaller schools across the country are slowly starting to close. I'm not saying that's directly related to the NIL, but how do you as a school in a small town compete with a school that is in a bigger town that maybe has more rich alumni? Because that's what can happen, right? I mean, they can Snyder's car dealership can give each kid $1,000 to come to Culver Stockton. Would be nice, but is that unfair for these kids? Because ultimately, the NCAA's, how do we protect our student athletes, and are they now making decisions based on purely financial instead of what the best education?
Oh yeah, well, first of all, they are making the decisions based purely off of financial decisions and the financial help that they're getting. But, one could say, is this any different than them just taking the best full ride possible anyway, right? Maybe this school has the best full ride and the best facilities. I'm going to get my business degree anywhere anyway. So why not go where it's going to cost me the least amount of money? That's always been a way that students have had value in this college search process, right? Is finances. Now, you're just adding that next layer of, can I get $300,000 from Texas and only $200,000 from Texas A&M? So I'm going to go to Texas, right? As long as that's what we're allowing, then I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's unfortunate in the college landscape. We lost a great college football coach with Alabama, with Nick Saban. Because of this reason, basically he came out and said, when in my post-season interviews with players, basically all the players had two questions. Am I going to play much next year? If no, I'm going to transfer. And how much money are you paying me to stick around? And he said, I can't build a proper culture and lead them in the right way if that's all they care about. And so he's like, screw it, I quit. So, it's taking away some of the purity and team, focus of college sports. But in the same sense, schools were profiting off of athletes' performance, and the athletes were being used in that sense. And so we do have to fight for the rights of the students and the athletes that are getting that attention. And I don't see it rocking back the other way anytime soon. And that's goes hand in hand to me with the transfer portal problem. And if you've watched any NCAA basketball games, more on the men's side maybe than the women's side, but both, every player on the floor has been at another college. It's ridiculous. I think there's more stability in the NBA right now than there would be in NCAA for where. And so that's I see that as a weird problem, and the cohesion of some of these teams, are just all transfers and people from different places, and it's different every year. And I'd love for that to be curbed, but if that's what the players want to do and that's the life that they are comfortable with, then I think as coaches we have to accept those changes and try to do our best to manage them. But at what point
do you say, like, you're right, the transfer portal's through the roof, and it's this is, I mean, right now obviously it's the big tier 1 sports that are making the money, but it's going to trickle down to everyone else, and it's going to, why can't we help the students make money on their name, image, and likeness without it affecting them bounce around to 10 different places? Like,
yeah, they are going hand in hand. I think
right or wrong about the NCAA, their job was to help protect student athletes, and every rule that was in place for NCAA, there's a reason for it. One of the funny rules is, in spring you can only practice, 20 hours a week. Why is that rule in place? Because someone made their kids practice 80 hours a week and ran them to the puke. So now we got to put a rule in place. So everything in those thick rules, it is in theory trying to protect kids. And now you got 17, 18-year-old kids making massive life decisions based on dollar amounts and not in education. And yes, we're talking big money when you're talking these $200,000 transfer. You're right. Kids now are bouncing around. They're transferring like crazy, and the focus has shifted to money making instead of an education. And I think kids are not being protected right now. And I think that the states have sued them so kids can make their own money. The states, the schools that are suing them are because they have enough money and they got donors to say, yeah, Tyler, come play for me. I'll give you a new truck. So yeah, they want to be able to do that. But is that really in the best interest of the kids? Why not take the kids in the NIL deal and split what is coming in the door? So what?
Well, you can do that if you want. I think,
why not? I'm with you. These kids should make some money. The school's making $6 million. God, who knows how much Oakland made by the tournament now? They just had a huge upset, and now they probably got more donors. Why not split that with some of the? Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, I saw that their endowment for their entire college is about what Calipari makes as a head coach for Kentucky.
I bet that, but maybe they got some more people coming in.
It was like Calipari's lifetime salary of $85 million is the endowment of Oakland to.
But see, and that's a small school. Like, how did those small? Yes, they did well. They won and they beat Kentucky, right? But are these smaller schools going to keep dropping?
I think NCAA has been a good tournament for basketball has been a good example of Kentucky should have more resources than anybody to give NIL and pay these kids, and they should go win a ton of games, and they can even get out of the first round against a smaller, mid-major or less school out of Michigan, right? Like, that to me shows maybe. I think for football, it's definitely played a huge part in who's going to be at the top. But I think in these other trickle-down sports, basketball being the next tier down, obviously, it hasn't had that giant effect quite yet. Or at least the sports play differently, and so there's always a chance.
How do you think this is going to affect soccer? I mean, I believe we're just a couple years off from this really trickling down, and the programs. I mean.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think at the Division I level, just the retooling of how college athletics can be viewed let's say with how Marshall did things. They changed two big things that were unheard of for American college soccer.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in a ton of internationals, and they went from a roster of like 24 to 40 at the Division I men's top level, and it was good enough to win a national title. So they changed how. So we're still on that kick right now. So NIL will, I think, eventually trickle its way down, like you're predicting, and you'll start to see maybe some stronger schools put more money into soccer to win. But right now, we're still on this international versus American kick and old school style of 24 roster players versus the new school style roster of 40 players as being more of a norm. So soccer right now in America, and that's trickling down to all levels. International players, large roster sizes. It's just where we are right now with soccer. So that's kind of our own battle in a collegiate sense that we're in right now, that we're not even considering. And I don't talk to any Power 5 coaches personally, but the D1 coaches I know aren't really dealing with NIL yet, and I think they will.
What do you think? I mean, what stops a school from, because every school has sponsorships at some level, that you get a sign on the side of the building or whatever that is, and or around their soccer field, or what prevents them from going to get a sponsor now and hey, I want the sponsor money to go to these players for an NIL deal. Like, it wouldn't take much money for you as a coach to go get an extra $500 a kid, or get enough sponsors that, and I'll put your name on the side, but now this money is going to get more kids to say, hey, you signed with Culver, or you signed with XYZ University, you're going to get an extra $1,000 a year. All you got to do is post once a week. That's a game changer.
I think they should. I think that they should. I hope and wish that soccer has that clout, and that the people investing into these schools care more about soccer into that sense. So we're here talking in a couple of years that NIL is a problem, and Clemson won another title, but we know they give their kids $80,000 in NIL, so of course they beat everybody else. That would be great if soccer is getting that much attention in our country to where this would be a problem, and then maybe we have a different discussion about how we fix it. But
you're right. I see your point. I think it's trending faster than I think people wanting to realize, and if we don't fix it, if we don't try to put some kind of parameters in, I think kids are going to continue to get taken advantage of, and they're going to start making decisions, especially on the smaller level schools, that our kids are not going professional for the most part. Not knocking any, the Power 5's okay, different, but these non-Power 5 schools where kids are probably not going professional, they're now making the decision based on an extra $1,000 to come to you, where now instead of being, I wanted to be a nurse, and Culver has a really good nursing department, but this school over here is giving me an extra $1,000 a year if I tweet a couple times a year, but they don't have nursing. But that's okay. I'm not going to go there and change my career. And so now kids are making decisions based on that, instead of, once you become part of the program, there's like I don't know.
Well, I personally, I already think, and this is where we come in a helping sense in a lot of our clubs, but I already think kids are making the wrong decisions on what they want, how they're choosing college. My girlfriend goes to this school, so I'll just go there. They don't exactly have my major, but I'll be with her. That decision happens, I bet, every day.
Yeah.
So if you can't make a good, conscientious decision on your life, I don't expect you to at 18, but you should have some proper guidance to don't choose a school based off of a significant other just as a starting point, right? Then NIL, gosh, how are we going to navigate that? And we're not, probably. The kids are just choosing the money.
Maybe that's just how it goes. Maybe you're right, like you said, that it's enough that you get people.
I do think we'll have some rule changes upcoming for the NCAA. I think they will try to change something with the transfer portal. We might have like a year or two contract, something. I think they'll try something. I don't know if it'll succeed, because if it's not in the best interest of the players, I have a feeling they'll fail. But I have a feeling something's changing with that. And then I have a feeling something will change with NIL coming soon. And so obviously, stay tuned to us.
They tried to change the NIL and they got sued.
I do think
they tried to actually put some restrictions into it.
Oh, I know. I think they'll put they can cap it. I don't know what.
It's got it's transfer portal and the transfer portal is crazy. It's what a crazy time to be coaching or play. What a great time to be alive. You can get a new hip at the age of 40 years old. You can get your ears lowered. You can do whatever you want. Man, Tyler, I miss your face. I miss hearing your voice. We got to hear Ruthie. We should do this more often. This is Cap Chat at 63 degrees in Kansas City, Missouri on today's day, whatever day you listen to. But this, for Tyler Thompson rocking his new hip, this has been Cap Chat.